Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Temple of Speed. Welcome to Monza and welcome to the ZRC GT3 Championship right here in assettocorsacompetizione. My name is Stephen Koenig and joining me in the commentary box is the man, the myth, the legend, probably because he's ventured off the circuit somewhere, Cameron de Bastos.
Good evening, Stephen. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm not a legend, but I'm not in with among some of the Assetto Corsa drivers here. But good evening, everybody. Welcome in for an exciting race here at Monza, the Temple of Speed. As Stephen noticed there, it's definitely going to be an absolute banger of a race tonight, and we are hoping that you're all strapped in, ready for some action.
It's going to be an incredible one. Lots to talk about here because the championship is what I want to talk about. Daniel Rowe currently sitting at the top of the charts, but second place, Carl de Witt, has unfortunately had to retire for some time. He will not be at this event, and that is because the young man is going through a bit of surgery at this point. So we do wish Carl de Witt, our ZRC champion, our defending champion, the best of luck, speedy recovery, and we look forward to seeing you back on the track, going in, drilling your fellow teammates. So, Carl, wish you the best, but he was lying in second place, but that does open the door for the likes of Johan Kleinans, who's lying in third with 59 points. 1 point behind him, though, is Johan Krobler, followed by Hannes Kreiling, Henry Meyer, SES Day, Savasavov, Crystals, Werner Skuman, and Darren Miller rounding out the top 10, who's managed to tie it up with Johan van der Merwe.
Yes, no, absolutely, Stephen. It's a shame that Carl unfortunately had to step away from it, but we do wish him a speedy recovery after his operation, and we hope to see him back on track very shortly. But as you mentioned, this will blow open the entire championship for tonight and for the rest of the season. And now it's literally anybody's game. It's almost 2016, I believe, Mercedes win a championship, and then suddenly the champion is gone. Anybody can take over the championship tonight. And with a racetrack such as Monza, it is definitely going to be an exciting one, as I mentioned before. And it's going to be tonight's race probably mostly be about just being patient and getting the greatest exit out of the corners.
Well, the things that we got to also talk about, because we're looking at the track right now, and Tim is currently wearing a rain jacket. It is Monza. It is wet. It is not fun out there. Usually we can just put our foot to the floor and go racing. This time around, you got to be a little bit more gentle. And the drivers are having to do everything they can to keep it all together. And with a grid of 42 cars racing this evening, we're in for an absolute banger of a race, and hopefully not going and banging doors, especially with this wet weather. Johan van der Merwe trying to wait it out, so we're going to have a bit of a split in our qualifying. So you'll notice we have two different colored number boards. One set's red, one set's white. The red is our Pro-Am class. They are going and fighting it out, doing everything they can to stand on top and get racing. We've seen our Pro-Ams really chuck a spanner in the works for our pro drivers who are waiting. The first initial 10 minutes of this qualifying is our Pro-Ams trying to put in the best lap times that they can to secure a great spot. Now, Cameron, you've raced around Monza. You've been in these conditions. You have also seen stuff go wrong plenty of times. What's going through these drivers' heads right now?
Well, first, Stephen, it's definitely going to be just trying to keep this car on track. With racing conditions, it's always the possibility of just missing a brake marker or pressing the brake pedal too hard, locking up your tires, and then sending you in a drift across the gravel trap or even into the barriers a little while away. It's all about just being careful on that brakes, not locking up, and leaning on the assist that you have, for example, the ABS and traction control. Whoever has the best drive out of the corner will capitalize. But as you also said, it's very tricky. We all know turn one is extremely difficult, even in the driest conditions. It's all about being patient tonight, Stephen. A driver can't go and risk it all on the first lap. It's all about and going till the end, one can say. You can't just send it first lap and think, oh wait, these guys are struggling, I'm going to make positions. It pays out more being cautious instead of risking it. And that's what these drivers are going to be. And as you said, these Pro-Am drivers do throw a spanner into the works for our pro drivers. Some of these guys might just favor the conditions a bit better, being able to get a better draft than some of our pro drivers and then mixing it up, making it difficult for our pro drivers to get past. This is going to show the difference level between the pros and the pro-ams, and that is just going to make it so much better for us.
Now, I've got a question, well, not really a question, it's a bit of history that comes up with Monza every time I look at it. Challenging conditions, challenging circuit, it's always one of these circuits that people tend to forget about, that at one point was a big giant oval that is still in existence to today. You can go and walk on the old oval, but it is amongst all the trees, and that always makes it very interesting. But Cam, I've got to ask a question here, because you've raced around it a lot. You've also landed up with your own fair share of carnage moments. Sometimes you even go and decide that you're going to give to charity as for us AM drivers, that you tend to go smash yourself off into the distance here. I believe right in a charity race as well.
Yes, no, absolutely, Stephen. Well, as you also mentioned, this is a very old circuit with the oval, all the way from 1922. So it's a very old one, very rich in history in terms of in terms of its layouts and its history in Formula One. There also, but yes, I believe the final time that I ran a charity race was in a McLaren, and that was in I believe 2021. I was still on university. Yo, that feels quite a while ago. And yes, going and wrecking the car, and then having a lovely sponsored penalty from family members being chucked in there. So it's a track which is fun for charity racing. It's fun for all events, but sometimes it can knock the wind out of yourselves, especially during a 6 hour of endurance that I've done, and it's definitely going to be very, very fun for these drivers. Never liked the rain, and well, I'm growing a bit to it, but tonight I'm glad I'm warm and dry in our commentary box tonight, Stephen.
Yeah, no, definitely. We are all nice and toasty here. Tim getting wet. Jim is calling from the rafters, but out in front with a 153.4. That is a big Bentley of Gerry van Zyl putting in a phenomenal effort. And I've got to say, fantastic to see the big Bentley actually doing well in this wet weather condition. The BMW of Jackie Alberts looking to go for a podium for the Racing Snails once again. This is always a treat to go and see how the Racing Snails work, because it's a bit of consistency. It's that little car that could and moves their way forward. Ian Rootman out in third place, currently in the Aston Martin. David Rabathorn with a beautiful livery. Zodiac got a nice shine to it as well. Conditions really playing in his favour. Mordred Claessens of the Pandacity Infiltrate Pro-Am team looks to be a bit of a lone driver here. Sorry, not lone driver. He's actually part of two that are out. So Mordred Claessen currently in fifth place. Barry Loeb currently around the Ironland Racing Co, trying to make a bit of a move and climb his way up. Heinrich Loeb also out and doing everything he can. Jakob Krobler putting in a great lap time. He moves up in sixth place. He was actually racing an F4 last night in iRacing, so to get ready to get into a GT3 in the wet on a different sim on a completely different circuit is pretty entertaining to see how the drivers have come through. Heinrich Loeb down into 10th place. Lucan Hines also in 11th position. Francois Puerta going and making his way around. He's in 12th position as it stands. But time is running out for our Pro-Ams to go and get those final times in before we release the pros to go and battle it out and see who will be able to climb their way up the ladder. As mentioned, the championship smashed open by quite a bit, having our defending champion going and sitting this one out. But you will be sure that he is staring at this going, I want this to work. This is the championship. You're looking at your competitors, and whoever is going after the crown needs to be well deserving of it. They need to stand up proud. They need to be looking to everyone to go and help and move forward, or just go and really rein in the chaos.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. It's as you see, I believe it's the final 50 seconds. So if you get across the line, you have to make it count now and then get out there before we release the pros out onto circuit to get their runs in, and that's also going to shuffle around a bit there. But yes, it's as you mentioned again, it's such a shame that Carl unfortunately had to withdraw. But as you said, I'm sure he's working as we see a synchronized spin there.
That's Marius and Jacques Kriel going and having a very, very interesting time together. So
Yes.
that's one way to do things.
I mean, we know. I know we're on Italy, guys, but there's no point in doing a pirouette there in the rain there. But absolutely, Stephen. Yes, it's going to be. I'm pretty sure that Carl is pushing himself as soon as the operations are finished, making sure he gets back into top shape and then pushing to get back into the fight there. As we see the last of the pro-ams coming back into the pits and our pro drivers setting out of the pits there, ready to get their times in and give us a fantastic show. I see one pro-am though that did not set a time. Valtach there, car 48 there. Probably rather betting it safe to start from the back instead of risking it and getting caught up in any potential accidents that might happen in the first corner or on the first lap.
He did put in a time. There was a time set, but it was an off track, and there was a 2047. So France, unfortunately, with an off track, wasn't able to get a lap in. So I do think it's a bit of a beat down, unfortunately, but in these conditions, it's wet, it's Monza, and we all know about Monza T1. Wow. Oh boy, if you don't know Monza T1, you have not been around in sim racing or general racing whatsoever.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, use of a favor then, if you do not know any carnage that might happen with it, go look into a GIF or GIF, a search bar. I don't know what's the debate, it's a G instead of a J, into the GIF search bar and type in Monza Turn 1. The amount of videos or jokes coming up from that one pretty much explains all the trauma and fear that most people have there. But yes, I quickly looked at the chat here, and Stephen, as the real Casper said there, that seeing the big Bentley posting such good times there for our pro-am leader, it's crazy. And that's the thing I want to talk about. Normally on this track, it's always the McLaren that has that incredible straight line speed, Stephen, being able to accelerate on the back straight and onto the front straight after Parabolica. And ever since that BOP changes have been employed, it seems like the cars have shifted and they've come alive. I mean, I've known one or two races where the Bentley just pulls away from under the cars, and then also the Nissan. That is the car that I've heard great things about, specifically on Spa also. So it's great to see the different use of cars from the Nissan to the Ferrari, Aston, Bentley, and the Porsche, and even the McLaren Lamborghini. So it's good to see a good mix of cars out on circuit.
Do you know why the McLaren's not doing so well?
Why?
Because it's not the MP4-12C.
Oh, okay. Maybe we can tell the viewers here a little something. So Stephen has a bit of a romanticized love relationship with that spec of McLaren from the iRacing, and be glad you didn't have to sit in a comms with him when he has to drive that car. He absolutely adores it. He loves it. And you might prefer that one. I still prefer my 720 SE, but Stephen, still a very good car and very strong in my opinion, in my point of view. But hey, everybody has their own opinion. Just depends on if it's right or wrong.
It looks like it's been stood on and squashed. But let's talk about the racing right now, because we do have interesting information, and this is coming from Race Control. Donaldson and Govender are serving quali bans, so they will be out of qualifying, which means they will be at the back of this track. They'll be at the back of the grid and having to make their way up through the rankings. Daniel Rowe making his way into third place. Johan Krobler putting himself into first place. So Bego Krobler going and showing off in front of his teammates, saying, listen, buddy, I've got this. But the Bentley set by our Pro-Ams still holding second place at this point, while our pros are starting to get those incredible lap times in. We got Hannes Kreiling, who's trying to make up a bit of time in the Nissan GTR, with Daniel De Villiers being the leading Nissan GTR. This is actually interesting to see. Bentley, Nissan, something that you don't usually get to see. Who's going to bring the Maserati? I wish to see that. I want to see the Maserati or the Aston Martin V12. Why not? Let's do it.
That beauty of a V12, Steven. I mean, have you ever taken that V12 round batters? I'm not going to lie. I messed around with it a couple of, I think last year, me and my friends just took it out around batters. And the scream on that car is just insane. And it's quite fast. But
BMW
again,
M6. BMW M6 worked well for me, I've got to say.
Well, everybody has their opinion, but yeah, but I just a scream, but it depends really much, and I don't know, it's just that car, it's such a beautiful noise to hear, but it seems that the front engine cars are coming well alive. Well, in the top 5, the only mid-engine cars are the 2 Porsches from the hybrid racing team there. Otherwise, it's the Bentley, which is front engine, and the Nissan, which is also front engine, and I'm curious to see that the Merc isn't doing so well. I mean, that car loves to ride the curves.
Yeah, it looks like the BOP coming into effect there, and SES Hayes is trying to really make his way around, actually jumping over the curbs quite a bit, having a bit of a difficult time there. But interesting enough, Johan Krobler putting in the fastest lap time of a 152.6. Last lap time was a little bit slower of a 153.0. But remember, he's lying currently 4th in the championship with his teammate lying in 1st. So are we going to see these two go hammer and tongs at one another like what we had in round 1? We actually got to interview them and ask what was their thoughts, what's the plans going forward. They turned around and said, well, we're not going to back off, we're going to make people work for it, and including one another. These conditions, do you really want to go side by side with your teammates in some difficult times? I know you and I have had moments that got a little bit scary in this moment, but championship starting to move forward. I do want to talk about, we do have some exciting news. First of all, you would see we've got a new sponsor jumping on board, helping with the servers, and that is Rapid Network. So a big thank you to Rapid. Good to have you guys on, and it's always exciting to see new sponsors jumping on with sim racing, going and saying, hey, listen, we want to be a part of this show. We want to see things all the way forward. So good to see. You talked about a Merc being up at the front. Johan Vermeerder puts himself into 2nd place. He's 0.3 of a second off Johan Krobler, but Crystal's right behind him in the Ferrari. So we got different manufacturers within the top 5. Porsche, Mercedes, Ferrari, Bentley, Nissan.
Yes, it's the battle between the Germans, the Italians, the British, and the Japanese out there. It's nice to be in that top 5. I'm surprised. Not surprised. I'm just shocked, pretty much myself, to see Hannes Kreiling they beating out Daniel De Villiers in the Nissan. Now, I'm pretty sure most of the drivers, now including you, Stephen, De Villiers loves his Nissan, especially around Monza. So I'm pretty sure he's pushing hard on these final lap or 2 to get across that line and claim back his spot as the top Nissan. But it's great to see the mix of different manufacturers. But just look at that gap, Stephen, between our first in Pro-Am and our second in Pro in the second in Pro-Am class. There's 13 grid positions between them. Does these conditions favor the Bentley a bit over that of the BMW?
Or Harry van Zyl lives in Cape Town and is used to having enough water on the porch, that's for certain. I do want to point out, Johan Kleinans managed to set the fastest speed trap of 272 kilometers an hour. Now, that is blindingly quick, but unfortunately having to hammer the brakes and get that car turned in is not turning into an easy feat. So he's down into 9th place despite being the fastest on the circuit at current. So something you need to keep an eye out for is maybe that bit of straight line's going to help. I know a lot of people favor low downforce around Monza. I would prefer to have more downforce, especially in these conditions. Try and get the nose and the wing to just shove me to the ground, just as extra protection for sliding. I don't want the car to rock around, but a lot of drivers are thinking something a little bit more. Johan Verveers going and making his way around. He's in 12th position. He's got Darren Miller trying to close down the gap to him. SESA is down in 14th. Savov is down in 15th position, but qualifying over, Johan Krobler still at the top of the charts with a 152.7. Daniel De Villiers wasn't able to beat him. Will Chris Stalls of Dalton Negative be able to make up the time? Going around Parabolica, got to keep it on the gas as hard as you... Is this Parabolica? No, this is not Parabolica. This is heading into the second of the chicanes, but he does have his teammate onto the back of him and going and getting a little bit of a tow. Hannes Kreiling wasn't able to improve. He's in 5th place. Harry van Zyl currently in 6th. Sean Benham comes across the line. Conrad Martin, Verveers, SESA, Savasavov. I mean, everyone is trying their luck, but the 152 in these conditions, and it looks like Crystal's going and calling it quits. He wasn't able to get it done, so flies off into the dirt. He's going to try and let his teammate make his way through. Johan van der Merwe in 4th place in the big Merc, trying to get a little bit more drive. Maybe too much of a track cut on the exit. He was right over the curb. Let's see whether it's going to be enough though. For this race, we will not have any virtual safety cars, so bear that in mind. So if you get any damage, there is no virtual safety car to sort you out on this race. But we do have our stewards watching very tentatively on all the incidents that happen, and it looks like quite a few drivers are just not able to pick their way out of the top.
Yes, Stephen, but as promised, you see a lovely overhead view from both the merging of the old circuit and the new, well, the remnants of the, well, the new and the old one. Yeah, I can't remember what I said. But no, Stephen, the qualifying just proved that it is going to be an amazing battle and race there, as I believe up until P14 we're all separated, well, we're all under 1 second. That just shows the caliber of the race pace that's out there. And it's definitely going to be a battle as we quickly take a look there. And Stephen, I will let you go out.
So we are going to take a look at the grid and see what it's all about as everyone's lining up on the line, getting ready to go. So soon as Tim brings on our cameras, we will take a quick look through the grid. But at the moment, Johan Krobler, Daniel De Villiers, Crystals, Johan van der Merwe, Hannes Kreiling, Daniel Rowe, Michael Schultz, Kerry van Zyl, Sean Benham, Johan Kleinans, Conrad Martin, Sean Verveers, Darren Miller, SESA, Savasavov, Rowan Kleinans, along with Virtia Buerta, Jackie Alberts, Ian Rootman, Wilfred Robertson, Heinrich Loeb, David Robertson, along with Anton Lummers in 23rd position. 24th, Lawrence Badenhurst, followed by Mordred Clausen, Jakob Krobler, Barry Loeb, Tian Theron, Lucan Haynes, Francois Buerta, Henk Peters, along with Hendrik Porgieter, Rudy van Eerden, Marius Ibbers, Matthew Carter, Liam Swinburne, Jacques Kriel, Gerrit Jacobs, Rian Reda, Gabriel Melman, Edrin Govender, Michael Donaldson, and France Weltigan are starting from the back of the circuit. So as our drivers going to be lining up, and Tim will be giving us a bit of a clear shot of our grid as it stands. So there we go. Johan Krobler currently at the top. Will have to deal with the likes of Daniel De Villiers, Chris Stalls, Johan van der Merwe, Hannes Kreiling, Daniel Rowe, Michael Schultz, Kerry van Zyl, Sean Benham, and Johan Kleinans going to be fighting it out as our drivers make their way heading into the final corner. The rooster tail is definitely showing, and we're going to go racing. 2 mandatory pit stops needing to be done. Will there be a change of tires? Well, we're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen, as we get to go racing. And Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers, now has an opportunity to go door to door with fellow rival Johan Krobler, with Crystals and Van der Merwe around. This is going to be a monumental fight. Will Godzilla slay the porker, or will the pork be able to wipe out Godzilla and turn him into a vegetarian? And green lights are ablaze. Johan Krobler takes off with no problems. And we've got Daniel de Villiers trying to chase him down. You can see a bit of a pressure going on between Crystals and Johan van der Merwe, who is trying everything he can. Krobler going to go side by side. He backs a little bit up, allows de Villiers to get sucked in as Chris goes around the outside. Daniel de Villiers over the curb to try and keep himself alive. But that has been the cleanest turn 1 I have seen in a very, very, very long time.
Ooh, I think you spoke to see there's a bit of yellow flags there in the back, Stephen. See if Tim can go back there. But yes, that was a very clean start from all our races. At one point, even 3 wide between Crystals, Johan van der Merwe, and Daniel Rowe there as they jostle for that 3rd spot there. As you see Tim going there and giving us a nice little shot of why we got that yellow flag briefly there. It looks quite close as
Constantina, this is Vietia Buerta trying to get himself going. It was nudges, bumps, and everything. But a little bit of scrapes doesn't hurt anyone. It looks like everyone was able to maintain their positions to a point right till we see another set of yellow flags for car number 8. And that led into a chain of events. A little bit of damage to the front end of that Merc. Under braking, Aston Martin sending it from light years back. McLaren not going anywhere. Oh, there's a contact. And unfortunately, quite a few of the cars starting to take an initial beating on the way through. Tim giving us some eyes in the sky. But Johan van der Merwe dealing with Daniel Rowe at the moment as they make their way through to complete lap 1. A couple of cars in the pits as it stands. We do have live timing up for you guys. Go and take a look in the description. Pit wall is active. Go and tune into it. Watch your favorite drivers. See who's the quickest out there. And hint, hint, wink, wink. Maybe use it to try and plan out your strategies. Just saying. It's a possibility. It's always handy to have that extra little bit of information getting chucked in. The grid's starting to open up. Kerry van Zyl, though, going and dropping down. Our Pro-Am leader now just getting swallowed up by the grid, down into 15th position after a triumphant start. This time not working out as planned. Daniel Rowe and Johan van der Merwe going and sharing a bit of paint with one another. The hybrid racing and the Zodiac team really going and trying to force the situation. And Hannes Kraling in the big Nissan chasing them down, seeing the fight going on. But Krobler is having no problem pulling away at the moment.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. I mean, as you see,
that's Mordred Claessen's. That's Claessen's trying to capitalize at this point. He's caught behind Kerry van Zyl. David Robertson is doing everything he can. Now, he just had a bite to the cherry to be at the top of the charts for the Pro-Ams. Now, Mordred Claessen looking to try and take second of the Pro-Ams as they go side by side on the brakes, doing everything they can. Claessen up on the inside, had to back out of it. David just going and squeezing the door absolutely shut.
Ooh, that's going to hurt his drive out there, Stephen. That's not absolutely taking a bit too much curve on the exit of the Sky there, Stephen. But it's another thing a little bit noticed there was Kerry van Zyl was our leader in the Pro-Am quite high up. And then second was Jackie Albert, I believe, there. And I do not see Albert anywhere on our timing sheet. Well, from what the camera is giving us there. I wonder if he had a bit of an accident there, but that was the top 3. Yes,
still in the pits, and been there for quite some time. And waiting it out, Loeb, Jackie Alberts, Marius Evers, and Francois Berta all trapped in the pits. Something got on. Oh, Michael Schultz is spun round and now stuck in the middle of nowhere, having to just try and figure out how to get going once again. Let's see what happened into turn 1 as Tim's trying to give us the best shots possible. Looks up around the outside of one of the McLarens, goes over, slight contact, turns around, and I think a lot of people just changed the color of their shorts right there, including us, as Michael Schultz had to climb on the anchors. Oh, secondary contact. That is going right down. So yeah, that was a bit of a contact. So I'm trying to see. That's David Robertson that's got knocked, and looks like another car into the back of him as well.
Yeah, that's car 33. Now, this is aftermath. I think Robertson might have not known about the Merc being there, and unfortunately just clipped him. As we saw the Merc earlier, they're standing still. So now, but this just highlights now the patience. Oh, tried to avoid it, didn't see it due to the spray, I believe, and that's also a Porsche off in the distance. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Steven, it's tonight. Monza is delivering again. With the added rain, it just makes it so much more difficult. But do you think the drivers are being a bit over eager in terms of getting positions and just getting zoned in on their targets, but and then just completely missing the break points?
It's very easy to do in these conditions, and especially at the pace that each of these drivers are trying to go. They're trying to push the boundaries, and unfortunately, once you get sucked into a fight like what we've got here, just that little bit of late braking, that half a meter will go and land up with a problem. That brake pedal going through the floor, and so a lot of drivers will have to just be very cognizant when they're in a monster fight like this. Personally, I hate to be in pack fighting in wet racing because it does make it extremely difficult to judge what the car's doing. If you know what your competitor is going to do, if you're getting a bit of communication, then great. But if you got your competitors that are in a bit of a brawl, like what we have with Hannes Kraling and Johan van der Merwe at the moment, and Verveer's trying to look around and see where he can get past, this is the worst situation to be in, because now he has to try and figure out what's going to work for him as they go side by side. Kraling getting past, and Johan van der Merwe just coming a little bit off the throttle to go and keep it all together. Fears onto the back of him. All the drivers making their way through. So definitely been a bit of a chaotic start, but I do want to stress we do have 2 mandatory pit stops, which means some work can be done to these cars during that time. So there is spares available. They do need a little bit of time to get them up and going, but we'll have to see how that comes into effect. We've got yellow flags for car number 12. This is Johan Kleinert, and looks like he was taking a bit of evasive maneuvers, hit the brakes a little bit late, got caught up behind one of the Ferraris, tried going side by side. Oh, a little bit of contact with the back end of the Porsche, and that brought out a small yellow flag, just to say, hey, just be cautious, there may be a headlight or 2 lying on the ground.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen, and it's, I mean, you know, we both know, evasive action there for Darren Miller, going side by side with the Porsche there of Conrad Martin there.
Elbows out, and Viertier looking to challenge that. So Thriller Live, unfortunately, having too much of a thrill, and Conrad Martin's not going to be too happy about that one. He's going to properly stick it to Viertier, who is up on the inside and is having his partner Anushka shouting, go, go, go for the pass. Go, push as hard as you can. Conrad trying to come back at him and do everything he can. But Miller opened up that gap early on and now is starting to stretch his legs away from them.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. And I think tonight most of the contact will happen within the 2 Variante curves there, with specifically being Variante della Retifilia, where you will go side by side, and if you're on the inside for the first corner, and you have to snap back into left for the second part. Oh, as you see Mordred Clausen, they're losing it.
No, that's Jaco Krobler.
No.
That is Jaco Krobler who has lost it. Let's go into the helmet cam on that one and just see what happened. I love that Tim managed to sneak a helmet cam into a lot of these cars. 100-meter mark, and he's managed to get it all sorted. Third gear, going to be too early on the throttle. Yep, and the rear just not liking it. The snap tried with a quick snap back, and unfortunately it said no thank you on that one. Lots of damage going to be coming onto that car, and a very second-hand looking Ferrari.
That's a 5-minute stop there, and he's still continuing. Bravo to him. I mean, it's trying to nurse. They're still early on in the race. Might be coming up close to his. Well, we're seeing a lot of cars. There was specifically the Ferraris. Funny enough, Stephen. I mean, we are in Italy. The first season supposed to be cheering on, and currently Monza just seems to be damaging the favorite brand of cars. But no, absolutely, Stephen. It's as we're just seeing there, it's saying most contact will happen between cars will be in turn 1 and 2. But then you take a look at the exit of Ascaria, apologies for that one. Exit of Ascari, where the car might just step out of them, or they take too much curb, and the rear just wants to come around. And unfortunately, with the track being so slippery, being on the brakes and locking the brakes will only mean one thing: a one-way trip into the wall and a long, lengthy pit stop.
Yeah, that is it. And with these cars now having a bit of a radio put in, do you know what they've got a radio in some of these cars? Well, other than a pit-to-wall radio, they do have a radio playing some music.
I don't believe that. I haven't heard that one yet.
Haven't you?
In the Porsche, the McLaren, or the old Ferrari 488, or even the Audi R8.
Oh, and there with a bit of contact with Fafiers, and he spins round and tries to bring it back after that side-on contact with Jan van der Merwe. You know what? The radio kicked in there. You spin me right round.
Right. Okay, I think we're just showing our age. Well, your age. I just grew up with that. So,
really? Okay. We're going down that road here at Monza for the round 4 of our round 3 of our Monza or GT3 championship, brought to you by ZRC. It's definitely going to be an interesting one, and going and calling out my age like that, man, oh man, I don't know whether to be offended, or even more offended. As we see Car 34 going really slow. That is Gabriel Melmed trying to give it a little bit of time to Jackie Alberts with a drive-through penalty, and we'll need to be serving that. So Gabriel Melmed trying to lift off the gas, allow the cars to get through. Doesn't want to get caught up in too much carnage, but in turn loses a position to Ian Rittman, who is now trying to get on the gas. So Ian Rittman is chasing Rudy van Eerden. So Gabriel, in being the nice guy, gets it wrong.
On the grass, hold it.
He did.
That's a 10 out of 10 if we ever had scoring for that in terms of an Olympic sport there. But Stephen, that just shows the characteristic of having to manage that Porsche in this condition. The Porsche being slidey in the dry is also quite slidey, or even more slidey in the wet. But it's quite interesting how the car is much more slidey in this zone compared to other zones. I know we're next to see, but I like to make the comparison to that compared, for example, to the Nissan here, as you see going onto the green stuff, and this time not grass, and just rock solid through there, where the Porsche might have gotten a bit of a slide there. It's interesting to see that.
And a couple of cars coming out of the pits as well is going to provide a bit of a challenge, because pit lane is square into turn 1, and the drivers will be starting to feel that as David Robertson goes for the defensive line to keep Mordred Clausen's at bay after allowing the leaders to come through. But with time starting to move on, I see number 28, and that's Gerrit Jacobs going off into the distance. What happened to Gerrit? This is a corner that you said be very, very wary about, and not to sound like Bugs Bunny. Go side by side, giving it everything he's got. One of the Ferraris touching the dirt. Oh, just rear contact.
Reach the wall.
And both will be feeling that for absolute certain. And Ferret Jacobs not going to be smiling underneath that crash helmet for sure. There's secondary as he is trying to limp the car back to the pits. Oh man, it's gutting to see it, but it does happen on the circuit where you get a little bit too close to the competitors and you can't really judge where the braking marker is because it all starts fading away behind the rooster tail with all the rain as well on the front windscreen. That makes it more challenging. Plus, you have got your competitors doing everything they can to defend. But out in front, Johan Krobler leading out the charge with Daniel de Villiers, who put in the fastest lap time of the race on the previous, on his second last lap with a 1:53.4. He's now doing a 1:53.5 as he's done it for 2 laps in a row. So Krobler is now starting to feel an immense amount of pressure from the Nissan that is absolutely solid into the braking zones and is not budging when it comes over the curbs as well. So that's definitely making a bit of an impact. Crystal's currently in 3rd place. Daniel Rowe in 4th. Hannes Kraling in 5th. 6th is Johan Vermeerve. Sava Savov in 7th place, going and battling out. Sean Binham in 8th. 9th is Verveers, who we saw had a little bit of a problem. He's got Darren Miller onto the back of him, who's got Vietia Buerta chasing him down. Then taking a look at our Pro-Am, so Clary van Zyl in the big Bentley, still leading out the charge with Ruan van Redder currently chasing him down in 2nd place of our Pro-Ams. And a car that we did not expect with lots and lots of damage still on it is Frans Wolfingen, who started from the back of the grid. He's currently 3rd in class, pushing as hard as he can. I mean, that's incredible stuff. Whoa, that's Miller facing the wrong way. Not what he wanted to have.
At the second variante, second chicane there, instead of putting out the Italian there.
Variante is chicane.
Variante della Roggia. There we go.
Oh, Aston Martin gets it out of shape, knocks into car behind him, and there goes Darren Miller. Darren Miller was just a casualty of war in that one.
Unfortunately, just losing out there, but that was an Aston Martin that was a lap down, unfortunately, getting the bit loose and causing the collision there, Stephen. But we all know that Thriller Miller is quite a good comeback driver. He can definitely claw his way back there. But it's good to know also that in terms of the stops that still need to be done for our Pro-Am class, the leaders there, provisional leaders, is currently Robotham, and in 2nd place is Mondre Klaassen there, with Tron there in 3rd place for all those done stops. So but it's still fascinating and great to see that Veldhagen, even though he started at the back and carried that much, as you see, it might be a move for the lead there, and Daniel de Villiers sticking it on the inside there for turn 4 and capturing the lead from Johan Grobler. He's reliving those glory days, Stephen. He's reliving those glory days, and he is hungry to take the win tonight.
Hit harder than Hitman 3, that's for certain. Johan Krobler, though, is going to be trying to fight him out and do everything he can to close down the distance. But you got to start considering here, are you going to run the same set of tires throughout the race? You got 2 mandatory stops to serve, so the main thing you want to do is cut down the amount of fuel that's going to be used, ensure that you get those 2 stops out of the way and not run into any issues. So that is the concerns coming into play as Daniel de Villiers going and munching the curbs a little bit too much for the Nissan to stomach at this point, and is doing everything he can, holding the inside line, does come back across the nose of Johan Krobler into the braking zone to try and slow that Porsche down. He's got a little bit more rotation. Johan Krobler going to go around the outside though, carrying an amount of straight line speed. He will pick up the toe down the main straight, not having too much of an easy run there. The PWSR Alpha car doing a phenomenal job and will be battling it out against the hybrid racing. Oh, this is going back to reminiscent racing. These two teams have gone toe to toe with one another, and now you got Daniel de Villiers, who has just found, he's rekindled that love of the Nissan and put himself into a prime position to keep battling it out. 55 minutes to go of this race, and the race is still heating up. Crystal's battling out against Daniel Rowe, who's right on his tail. Daniel Rowe's going to try and get a little bit more drive, hoping it's going to be enough. Looks to the inside, second guesses it, going to rather wait it out, just keep applying pressure. But I spoke about, we got some exciting news to come, and not even Cameron, you know this news. I found out the news. I'm super chuffed about it. And I thought that why not go and talk about it. We've got our new sponsor, Rapid Network, but we also do know that EG Evolve jumped onto this championship for season 2 and giving away the 10,000 Rand worth of vouchers for our competitors at EG Evolve if you want to get some sim racing gear. That's awesome.
Well,
what do you think can be more exciting than that?
Honestly, it is fantastic. EG Evolved has been a great up-and-coming brand, especially for the direct drive and giving us Africans access and or better access in terms of getting direct drive products or even load cell and hydraulic gear, sim racing gear in terms of SimUQ, Assetec, Monza is one of the first products that sold there, and then the whole range of top of the line sim equipment there. So to have them on board is definitely a great and fantastic opportunity, and we are more than happy to have them on board. So thank you EG Evolve for making this possible, and
But
I'm pretty sure it's
you didn't answer my question.
How does it feel?
What do you think is better than having EG Evolved for season 2 sponsoring our price?
Easy, the voucher.
Okay.
It's always the voucher. It's good news, getting some nice little things from, or getting some nice little discount in terms of the sim equipment. As we see a McLaren diving out the way there.
I can do one better, because I am pleased to announce that EG Evolved has committed and is partnering up for 2 more seasons after this. Season 3 and Season 4 will be sponsored by EG Evolved, which means prizes will be on the line. So even though you have missed out your time now and you're still scratching your head whether you want to race or not, they are back on board and committed in writing that they are going to be back for 2 more seasons. And the reason that they are back is not because the drivers are putting on a fantastic show out on the circuit like what we've been seeing, that the championships have been heating up all over the show. No, what swung the whole deal hands down was you guys, the spectators, the teams, the drivers, everyone watching the shows went and had Andres go, I want to be part of this. I am going to guarantee that we're in for 2 more seasons.
That's absolutely fantastic, Stephen. And yes, like I said, it will motivate the drivers to push a bit more. Might not be your season, as you see. Henk Peter said just at the exit of Ascari, just running a bit wide there and ending up in the grass. Ascari being in trouble for most of the drivers tonight, Stephen.
I think he outbraked himself a little bit and ran out a little bit wide over the curb. That's going to get a little bit dicey. Oh!
Out the wall, and spin up. Well done. That's a very nice little soft and rapidly out the wall there. But yes, it's fantastic to have EG on board again for 2 more seasons, Stephen. And it's just sweeter to deal for many of the drivers to come back and fight it out again for the next 2 seasons. And
even new drivers to come in and have a go at it, which is great. I can tell you, I've looked at my rig and gone, what if? And the what if sits in the back of my head quite a bit. And I know, Cameron, you're also sitting there going, what if I can get out there on the track? I know you're racing in the F4s, I know you're racing in the TCRs, but what if a GT3 may be calling? Who knows? But you guys have an opportunity at home to go and join in. And sign-ups are still open for this championship, so don't dilly-dally. Come in, have a bit of fun. Even if you're using this as to get used to the field, get to duke it out with some of the best in South Africa for assettocorsacompetizione and fight it out for a season's worth racing. It is going to be a monumental task. We also do know that this is a MSA recognized championship as well. So come the end of 2024, there will be a MSA ZRC GT3 champion on the cards. And that's taking a combination of all the points from this season to the end of the year. So you still have a chance, even if you're not getting it right this season. You're taking points for further in the season. Taking a look though, we've got a couple of problems out on circuit. Jonathan Merva, 15-second penalty given by our race control, and Darren Miller with a 5-second penalty chucked on to him, which are going to serve during the next pit stop. Not ideal circumstances on a circuit like this, because Monza's pit lane is just far too long to go and wait it out for the time second penalty.
No, absolutely, Stephen. And just even if it's a short bit, it's still so agonizing to wait for that time. But this will, of course, go and change the strategy in terms of what they want to do. Are they going to pit early, pit later, and how they're going to approach with the running tires? I mean, depending on the water, we have seen drivers go. I don't know if some of them might be risky enough to go out there on dry tires, but to go and rather run the whole race without changing tires. So it's going to be a bit of a risk there, and it's definitely grueling. But one thing that I want to just point out there, Daniel de Villiers took the lead with just under an hour left to go on this race. And look at that gap that he pulled on Johan Grobler, a 2.3 second gap. This man is one with his car, and he absolutely is loving it.
Yeah, no, he is going and saying, I got this, I got this, I got this. Watch, don't worry, don't stress about this, I've got this. Which is always fantastic to see, and it's something, a different car to go and see. Out of all things, it's just absolutely monumental to see the drivers going and pushing themselves that little bit more, hoping that it's going to be in favor with them. And this is what the BOP has brought in, a different dynamic to the world of sim racing for assettocorsacompetizione. No more that you're going for the meta car, because, you know, everyone goes the Ferraris, the meta. When we talk about the meta, it's the go-to car. If you want to win, you pick a Ferrari. This time around, go drive a Bentley, go drive a Merc, go and fight it out. But take a look at our Pro-Ams as Kerry Fontail's into the pits, and that's going to allow Rita to get by. He's going to go side by side and try and make his way through the R&R Racing Audi, doing everything he can, and unfortunately side-on impact. That
coming up.
did not work out in his favor. That was the 45 Ferrari that shot past, and unfortunately Mr. Loeb did not hit the brakes in time. So Berry going and really giving it all the berries, unfortunately a little bit too much, and now created a bit of wine on the process to our new Pro-Am leader, who will be sporting a bit of damage to the side of that Audi.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. I think he might have forgotten we had a bit of a wet race here, and misjudged his braking point. From when I see the nose of the car dip there, meaning indicating that he stepped on the brakes, it looked like he might have just miscalculated and took the dry brake marker instead of the wet one. It's about a good 100 to 50 meters back from where we are, just to be safe. If you want to risk it, you can hit the dry one, but you have to be very careful on the brakes and manage it very, very well. As you see, our leader statistically for the Pro-Am, Harry van Sale there, cutting the second part of the first chicane there.
You say cutting the chicane. I'm saying taking a creative line. Yeah, because
the stewards will think of that. Creative line between track limits is very, very debatable. As you see, Paul Peter, they're jumping the pit, serving his final pit stop there, and doesn't completing all the requirements for the race there. But now Stephen gets. There's a difference between, I know some people like to call it the esports line, meaning you cut the entire chicane and you just straight line everything out of it.
Or that's just a layout. That's genuinely an actual layout that can be run where you just straight line it. But unfortunately they put the curbs in, and that really does put a humdinger on that one. But there is actually a straight line form that used to run. Couple of cars that have done all their pit stops. You pointed out Mr. Borgita has done his pit stops, Jaco Krobler's done his pit stops, Van Eerden's done his pit stops, and now just looking to go through. Gerrit Jacobs as well has done all his stops, but I do think those are cars that didn't plan on getting them all sorted out. Johan Krobler though with a 5-second penalty on his time, which is going to play into the favor of Daniel de Villiers. For Fears going on the dirt and trying to get himself going. Oh, that Ferrari is looking well over second hand at this point as he pulls into the pits. And our big Bentley also trying to make his way through.
I just had a heart attack and thought that Van Sale's pit stop didn't register. Oh, guess what? He only did one. I mean, we have seen it before where the car, if it doesn't line up perfectly with the box, you get the pit, but it doesn't register as a requirement. So I thought we might have just noticed that tonight, Stephen. But yes, I should mention, Johan Grobler with a 5-second penalty, not 1 second, 5-second penalty. This is going to play into the favor of Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers, and also Daniel Rowe, his teammate, who is 5 seconds behind him. So it's curious, it's fascinating to see how the stewards are handling out the penalties there. Of course, we can't see all the accidents there that happened, but we trust the word from our stewards as they follow the rulebook and give out the penalties as needed there, Stephen. But it's punishing some drivers. Even if it's the smallest mistake, you will be punished on.
Well, that's the thing. It's all about keeping it within the white lines. If you're going in door-to-door contacts and that, unfortunately, that will throw you down. So all of it is being watched very, very closely. Michael Donaldson coming out of the pits and is making his way. He's in 15th position. He's actually served a quali ban, and he got up into 15th at the moment. Can he keep away and keep up the pace? Well, we're going to have to find out for the little car. Michael Schultz doing a phenomenal job. He's onto the back of fellow teammate Conrad Martin, who tries to make a bit of ground. Fears coming out of the pits just ahead of that looks to be Johan Krobler. And it looks like quite a few cars are just forgetting to even bother taking turn 2 and is just straight lining it a little bit, maybe not getting on the brakes early enough.
Old tires, not braking early enough, not having that amount of grip that they were used to previously, and just not being able to turn the car enough to point it and line it up for that second corner in the chicane. As you see, the two Porsches almost side by side going down the main straight, heading into turn 1. Schultz saying, nope, I'm starting in behind you, and rather just waiting for the next corner. We do have the Pedacity car that's up ahead. That is a lap down, or a couple of laps down, so it's definitely going to get involved in this one. But these two, they might be teammates, but there's definitely no team orders here, as Schultz is going around the outside of Conrad Martin there, and seems to be sticking it well. Now he has an inside line for the next chicane, and he does get past, it seems. Yes, well done, great move there from Schultz there, and Conrad Martin saying, rather, let me just keep it out here, I do not want to risk it. As you see, a very slow Ferrari there.
That's Mordred Claessen's. Now, Mordred Claessen's a little bit slow, and is
labbing almost.
having a very, very difficult time. Hasn't been the easiest race for the Pandasti vehicles at the moment, as we're going to go back to the yellow flag, where it all seemed to have started going wrong for him.
Step out.
Well, there's a Ferrari,
Tokyo
and
drift.
oh, what a snapback, and that was a bit of an exciting moment for one of our Porsches. Drive-through penalty handed out to Swinburne in 25th position. Will be not liking that one, and that pretty much adds 3 stops to your original plan. Not ideal situations. Loeb with a 30-second penalty as well. I mean, this is turning into a race of note. I think Swinburne's penalty came in from track limits exceeded, which can happen quite easily in these conditions. You just go a fraction over because the tail's starting to slide out from underneath you, and that's all she writes. As we see Jacques Krill going and battling out with Pochita, the Racing Snails, not hanging around one another at this point, going to be allowing him by and saying, listen, your race a little bit different to mine. We're going to go try and pull each other along here and ensure we can keep up the pace. Jacques Krill, though, still needing to do one more stop, as his first pit stop didn't seem to have registered.
And that's what we're talking about. That's what I was talking about previously. Just maybe a bit outside of the box that the game or the sim likes, and just says, nope, that does not meet the requirements. Thank you very much. As you see, a very slow Michael Donaldson there going into out of Parabolica there. Now this is in the run-up to out of Parabolica, just after exiting Mascari. Bit of a slippery. It seems like he's hunting for the wet line there.
Yeah, was holding onto the wet line, tires not so kosher, hard on the brakes. He's trying to get past one of the cars, and the Ferrari just snapping out a little bit of contact against the wall, just enough to scuff the paint and drop him down.
And maybe just damage the aeroplane there of a little wing there on the side, as we see, as well as on the other side there also sleeping. But yeah, it's difficult to see this, but it's good to see him still running. That's all that matters. And yeah, it's heartbreaking, but well done on still keeping it out there. As we see, even Monza Clausen with that little spin still has quite a significant lead over Tron there. Just looking at our pro and standings there, that is that's quite good there in terms of even with the spin still holding on.
Well, taking a look at our standings at the moment, Daniel de Villiers out in first place, followed by Johan Krobler, Daniel Rowe, Chris Sauls, Hannes Grayling, Johan van der Merwe, Sava Savov, along with Sean Bennett, Michael Schultz, Conrad Martin, Viertier Buerta onto the back of him. The two of them are going to be exchanging words of note, because I know Conrad and Viertier have a good friendly rivalry between one another. Actually, the joke of Matchsticks Martins comes up quite often, and Conrad Martin, a avid cycling enthusiast, and don't get me wrong, this chap has cycled all over the show, does hundreds of kilometers in a variety of different things. But he does a phenomenal job. But to be fair, get to call him Matchsticks, because the first time he got load cell pedals, he was complaining it was too much. So Johan Kleidans right behind him, Darren Miller in 13th. 14th is Rian Ritter, who's currently leading out of our Pro-Am class, still needing to do 2 stops. So Michael Donaldson in 15th position. 16th is Sean Fafiers, along with Robertson in 2nd place. Mordred Claessen's trying to close down the gap, lying in 3rd place in class, 18th overall. Tian Turan in 19th. Henk Petersen, Frans Waltgen in 21st, 22nd, Lawrence Barnhorst, Harry Van Zyl, Ian Rutman, Wilfred Robinson now coming out of the pits, will be losing out a little bit of drive to Pochita, who's going to keep on the pace. Jacques Kriel gets past Anton Lammers, also launching his way through. Heinrich Loeb comes past before Wilfred Robinson can get out of the pits, just narrowly losing out a bit of time under braking, as Sevasovov is not hanging around. So the cheese and wine, the LNR, the logistical nightmare racing machine, Wilfred Robinson, still hanging on in 29th position. 30th is Idrin Govender, followed by SESAs, Jaco Krobler, Gabriel Melman now into the pits. Ian Swanburn currently in 35th, Rudy van Eden, Francois Buerta, Barry Loeb, along with Gerrit Jacobs, and rounding out our field that is still going at the moment, Jackie Albert having a problem. 5 laps down, but is still giving it everything possible. We have been seeing a lot of the drivers coming off to the grandstands and saying, look, unfortunately, variety of things going on that they had to retire the vehicles, but it's good to still see 39 cars that are not giving an inch and will be fighting it out till the very end, the bitter end, right here at the Temple of Speed. Here at Monza, Crystal's managing to get around one of the backmarker Ferrari as he chases down Daniel Rowe ahead of him. This is going to get a little bit heated. David Robertson going and fighting out. This is second in class with Mordred Claessen's. And now the question starts coming in. When are you going to get pit stops done?
Oh, yeah, that's a quite a question. As we see David Robotham there going a bit skewed there on the exit of the Scurry, but held it beautifully there. Now it's all about strategy. You want to get an undercut, you want to do an overcut. However, with this rain, there's a multitude of factors that are...
Well, that's going to change it up because Rita is in the pits, which means these two will come across and fight it out for first in class.
Yes, as it's difficult. I mean, we do know that with Reda in Philip in 2 stops, it was difficult for him to hold on to the lead unless he did a very, very quick stop and go without changing tires and just adding the minimal amount of fuel. But that's not always possible with these cars. And yeah, it's between these two. You want overcut, undercut, and with the rain, it makes it difficult. I mean, your tires won't be up to temperature on your outlap, so you have to build up that temperature, get the brakes to generate the heat that's necessary, and get the tires where they want for you to push and get a proper outlap going, meaning you'll have to stamp on the brakes hard and just hope that the tire grips on. As you see David here sliding that car around the corners. I do know that it's Zodiac racing, but do you think they might be running a bit of a drift mode there, Stephen?
Oh, I don't know, but Chris Stills is not going to be happy with his drift mode because going and spinning out into turn 1, a little bit too much rotation on the rear of that Ferrari. It looks like it may have been slight contact actually with the number 73. Well, the 73 also had a bit of a problem, so let's try and go back a fraction. And this is Henk Pedersen trying to close down the number 73 car. Oh, Chris coming out of the pits, trying to get going ahead of one of our back markers, and
oh, it's a Hamilton versus Verstappen 2021 Monza sequence there. Oh boy, luckily not as bad as that one, but pretty much mirror image except in a GT3 spec.
And with definitely the eyes of look at me, look at you type of battle. And it looks like David going and losing out the drive. That allowed Mordred Claessen's to get past. Going to try and get a little bit more pace back to him. So Mordred Claessen's currently leading out our Pro-Am class. Robotham now chasing him down. This is going to be a proper run down to the wire. So all the drivers are having to figure out what's going to work out for them. But bear in mind, pit stops coming into play. Daniel De Villiers has not done his 2 pit stops. Jaco Krobler has to serve 2 pit stops, but it's got a 5-second penalty. Daniel Rowe's got 2 pit stops, no penalties. Anders Kraling has got 2 pit stops. Johan van der Merwe has got 15 seconds on his next pit stop. So he's still got to do 2 plus the 15 seconds. Sava Savov is climbing all over the back to try and get past. He's running in 5th position as it stands. Sean Benham currently in 6th position. Conrad Martin trying to make his way through. It does look like we had a possible driver go out of the race. They had a retirement, so it might have been a mechanical failure. No. Timing board just getting very, very confused.
Yeah, it's not liking the... No, we did have a retirement, unfortunately, tonight, Stephen, with looking at the grandstand, with Alchemy saying there that he had some issues with his line. They're only running at 1 megabit per second. So unfortunately, had to retire the car, tried to continue driving, and just unfortunately said, "Well, that's it. I have to call it for tonight."
Now the team going and opting that maybe it's just not going down the way that they wanted, going to choose rather to just back out of it and focus on the longest standing point here. There's still a long championship, even though you do get those races that, well, you want to knock your head against a tree. You still got to think about the long-term goals to it. What is the plan heading into the next races? Monza is only just a stepping stone into the championship to ensure that you keep going. Jan van der Merwe currently in 5th place with that 15 seconds. Now, as a driver, getting 15 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, doesn't matter what type of penalties. What goes through the mind? Now, in real racing, when we get told you got a 15-second penalty, well, the team only lets you know that you've got that penalty when it's closer to the pit stop. In sim, it's permanently in your face that you have got that time sitting on you. What does it do to you as a driver mentally in a race like this?
Well, Stephen, is definitely a bit, it's a bit demotivating, like it's, I mean, 15 seconds is half the distance. As we see, a very banged up John Rivier's there, trying to crawl that car around Parabolica into the pits, and all not to lose some time, having to be towed back.
That is not 15 seconds for certain.
No, that is 1 or 2
minutes, and
as we have a very slow
Ferrari.
A very slow Ferrari from one of the Zodiac cars there.
Michael Donaldson.
Braking well before and hitting the pit limiter when the pit entry is there. Oh, that caught up to Nissan. They also of, I believe that's Hans Greilich there. There's only 2 Nissans out there, Stephen. But yes, a 15-second penalty is half a distance, well, half a fuel stop, or pit stop, if you take tires plus your fuel. So even if he does remove the tires and only adds 1 liter or 2 liters of fuel, it is still not, you're still going to lose in total about 17 seconds plus going out and into the pits. It's demotivating. You yell at yourself, you give yourself a lot of issues by just saying, why did I do that? Or maybe even thinking, listen, I don't know why the stewards gave me this. I wasn't at fault for this or this or this. So it's a bit, it's difficult to say, but it's one that you have to soldier on. You can't just put it to the side, you have to continue pushing.
It's always handy to have that voice in your head, a teammate, a pit boss, going and just saying, don't worry about it, put your head down, get refocused in the situation, and look forward on what we need to do here, especially with the race. Now getting to the closing stages, 27 minutes to go of this race, and all the drivers will have to start thinking long-term effects. What are they going to do? How are they going to keep pushing? What is the tires going to look like? What is the fuel going to look like? It's just so much running through your head.
Yes, it's definitely something that has to be considered, and this, as I said, penalty also changed in terms of how you approach this. But even with about 27 seconds left, as we see Yuan taking the lead here from Daniel de Villiers. Daniel de Villiers rather opting to go for that pit stop now and get a bit of a leg up. Remember, now this is a battle between Daniel Rowe and Johan Schwaber. They are both vying for second. Rowe definitely inherited second already with a 5-second penalty from Yuan. The drivers can't choose if they want to serve the penalty now or even after the race. It just gets slapped on immediately as an F1 on your next stop. So yes, it's definitely now a battle between the 2 hybrid racing cars. They're both in Porsches, both having the same, just maybe a bit more experience in terms of for the one driver compared to the other. But Daniel de Villiers being the first of the 2, Daniel decided to pull the trigger and get that stop done. But this releases him into a load of traffic. Now these are all lapped. They all have to adhere to the blue flag. You can't defend, you can't change the line, you have to stick to the line, make it predictable as possible, allowing the front runners or the car that's laps ahead of you to get past them. Otherwise, you will end up with a massive penalty.
The problem that comes with it, as we're seeing at Jacques Kriel, Edwin Govender and Henk Petersen, Wilfred Robertson, are all fighting it out for position. So they are still in a race of their own, and we have got one car, the imposter among us, going and doing it. Best hit the emergency meeting a button, because you've got an imposter among you that is going and making life a little bit more interesting. And like what Henk Petersen is currently feeling, he's losing out a bit of drive, and Wilfred Robertson is gaining on him at a rate of knots, as we see side by side between Govender and Kriel as they go hard under the braking, trying to get it all together. This is not only hurting their times to go and watch out in their mirrors, but at the same time they are trying to get a little bit more pace, a leg up on one another. So maybe just allowing the leader to come by. Daniel de Villiers is hemorrhaging critical time right now, and as you see, Kriel in turn trying to give a little bit towards Daniel de Villiers, lost out of position as well. So Daniel has hemorrhaged time for one. Two, he has now cleared some of the cars, not all, in his fight. He's gotten past Johan Krobler, but will it be enough to get closer to Benem and Daniel Rowe? They still need to do their 2 pit stops, but it does bring Krobler a little bit closer in this fight. That 5 seconds may go and start drifting off. That little advantage you thought you had of, I've got 5 seconds in the bag, suddenly starts bleeding off when you have got the back markers, and we call them back markers. These are our pro and pro-ams that are towards the back end of the field. They're still in a monster race of their own.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. I mean, you can see Daniel there flashing his lights, those bare ground lights at the bottom of the splitter there. On the front there. Just listen, guys, you're kind of holding me up. I want to go. With Johan Grobler not only losing his position to Rowe, but also to Conrad Martin. De Villiers is trying to navigate this traffic fast, and as you said, call them back markers due to the fact that they have had a blue flag that's being displayed at their dash and being waved at them. But this does not mean in any capacity that they are slow. It just means that they've kind of had a bit of a rough race, and they struggled with either qualifying or had rather bad accidents and spent some time in the pits. I mean, both myself and Steve can say that with some of our races that we had there. And it's not always because you're slow, it's just because you are having some issues. As we see Michael Donaldson, it's definitely not his night tonight. I think a bit of an excursion there into the winelands of Italy there. I'm pretty sure most of these drivers just want this race over and done with.
Now they're going and asking Jim to bring out the flag at any moment at the moment. Johan Krobler battling out with Chris Sauls. The two of them had a slight contact moment with one another. Nothing too hectic by the seams of it. And this is Chris getting the pass on Johan Krobler. By the looks of it, lines himself up on the inside. Going to go around the outside. A little bit of a touch, a little bit of a share of paint, nothing too much there. I think it was just leaning on each other a little bit more, but Chris trying to get any advantage at this point because he seems to be on the same strategy as Johan Krobler, and now into the back markers, getting boxed in left and right. Not ideal situation to go for. And unfortunately, the little Aston Martin needing to try and also make the corner and make his way around. Ian Rudman coming out of the pits. So quite a few of our drivers have now completed their mandatory stops. Only a couple that are missing. 17th place, Walter Ginn needing to do it. Rieda needing to get one more stop. Robertson needing to get one more stop. Viertia Buerta needing to get one more stop as he gets onto the back of Johan Kleinans. And Hannes Kraling has completed all his pit stops, but is lying in the top 10 at the moment, which is ideal for his race and to score as many points as possible. So maybe, just maybe, going to be utilizing a little bit of Japanese luck to go and claw his way into the top 5. maybe more.
Yes, well, this is also where every driver will start hoping and praying that the strategy does work out. Pitting early, getting those stops done, and having other cars that might have a very bad pit entry, might miss their box, meaning they have a bit of a longer stop, and we shall count in their favour. Well, if you've completed your stops, then we count towards your favour, gaining a bit more position and just stretching your tyres a bit longer there. But just taking a look here at our Pro-Am, says Stephen. So currently it's a row bottom there, just sitting in the lead with one stop to go, and Redder is still there second. Paddy Van Sailed, Lone Bentley, the one with a British cup of teas and crumpets there, completed all his stops, and Monte Clausen second, completing all his stops there. So currently there's still also a fight going on for our Pro-Am lead, but Daniel de Villiers hunting down Sean Bingham there, going into the second chicane. But later on the brakes there, Daniel de Villiers is making that, definitely transform that Nissan into Godzilla, saying, listen here, Booty, I'm hunting you down and I will definitely defeat you.
Now the 32, that's a 25 car of Vietia Puerta is a little bit slow, and it looks like the 32 car of Han Globe also was a bit slow on exit. SESA, so pointing the wrong way, and I'm going to use the same words he has used on me many times before. Sorry sir, you cannot park there.
You can't park the car there. There we go, that's the one then. That will be a better joke for that one then. But yes, I just got flashbacks to Mercedes Hockenheimring 2020, I believe.
Yeah, no, that is it. That is it. At least he's going to. That's the main thing that counts. Daniel de Villiers, though, looking to go for a pass side by side, and gets a pass over the Aston Martin of Sean Benham, who tried his luck to defend. Unfortunately, just didn't have the legs out of the corner, and it seems like Daniel de Villiers going back on the hunt at the moment. This is going to be a monumental task for him to catch up to likes of Daniel Rowe as they're trying to close down the distance. So Daniel de Villiers actually getting past. It looks like Rowe was in the pits, comes out third, and now has got Conrad Martin trying to chase him down. Johan Krobler, though, very, very far back, will not be able to catch Daniel Rowe. But now Daniel has an opportunity here to score lots and lots of points that's needed for the championship. Remember, Calderwood, who was running second in the championship, is out of a couple of the races. So his nearest competitor that is going at him is the likes of Jan Kleinans, who is all the way down into 11th position, and Johan Krobler, who is down in 6th at the moment. Those are his two closest competitors in championship points to him.
Yes, no, Stephen, I mean, I quickly had a note handed to our producer here, or from one of the stewards here, just saying about minimum pit time is 38 seconds there, but even with Daniel Rowe sitting, so not leading the race and running away with it, he's still gaining quite a lot of points here and still putting his hand firmly on the championship trophy. And even though his teammate might be a bit back, he's still fighting there. So it's just a phrase I would like to say, basically, Stephen, as you said earlier, round 3, Monza, it's still just a pebble in the whole lake of this championship. It will only have a small impact, but that ripple effect will go on, unfortunately.
Well, we've got a couple of cars. Jan van der Merwe, though, getting it all out of shape, having to spin the car back, I think, over the rotation on the rear of the Mercedes, just not coming into play, and will be calling in saying, Toto, my tires are gone. And unfortunately, it seems to be the case with the Merc, just not able to keep it all together. The rear stepping out, tries to bring it back. What I'm noticing, though, it gets into this very sloppy slide. And yeah, talk about a sloppy slide. Talk about the car gets into this where it sits on the traction control. It's just powering on the traction control. You're not getting anywhere from it. You're trying your best, and unfortunately, it doesn't want to get out of it. The moment that you're able to snap it back, though, is when it gets all out of shape and it's a loss of control. So whether you just let it just bog itself down all the way out, or whether you try and bring it back. There's always that 50-50 risk. Michael Donaldson getting past the likes of Ren Ritter, along with Edrin Govender, who's also done a fantastic job in getting past. Remember, Ritter is now focusing on who he needs to fight. Doesn't want to go and have the pros messing up his chances at the championship, and will be going, right, you're not a problem, you're not a problem, you're a problem. And this is something that's utilized by a lot of the drivers, and it works very, very well in sim because we have full access to that data telemetry. As you see on your screen right now, the red and white number board blocks, that's what the drivers get to see. So you know who you're versing, who you need to go and fight it out with, and who you wish to keep going. A lot of times you want to go and get the bit between your teeth, get into the fight and ensure that you can close up the distances on the rest of the field. But at the same time, you've got to use your head once in a while and say, it's just not worth it. And Cameron, this is something that you've come into for a lot of your racing time, getting to just pick up who you actually racing and who you're not racing, even though you're out on the circuit at the same time going for an overall position. You start focusing on your class positions to ensure you have that best foot forward towards the later part of the championship.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. I mean, just I'm going to use an example from last night, but I had to choose. Well, I'm currently fighting out in terms of our pro and World Cup, but I was between the pro drivers, and I just decided, listen, just step aside. This is not my battle. I know who the guys are that I'm fighting for, who are fighting with in the championship, even though it's round one, and I do not want to risk my race by getting involved in an accident with one. So it's all about just playing smart, determining who you want to battle, who you don't want to battle, and just rather saying, listen, take the position, I'm protecting my race, I'm getting the maximum points possible for me from this race, and let you get the points that you need. Even though it's overall position, you're not really gaining points, but rather protecting your own race. You don't want to ruin yours or your competitor's race, even though it's different classes. And this is where the skill level, well, not skill level, where as we see a Ferrari this race in the wrong way,
that is the Anton Lammers and Rudy van Eerden are the ones that are pointing Rudy in the worst possible position, and you can see drivers wanting to take that apex but just can't. I mean, this is one adventure Rudy just deciding rather get it towed back to pits. I wanted to get it reversed, but unfortunately with the track so evenly split with drivers, to get it into reverse and turn around was just not a possibility. You're going to lose positions, but it's better than reversing into the racing line and just having cars piling into the side of you and you have no control on it, and neither do the others that just suddenly find a GT3 car parked in the middle of the racing line.
No, I mean, the Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2, the two corners where even the drivers will lose it. As you see another Ferrari from Zodiac there.
That's
Vieta. Parabolica. Yes, that's Parabolica. That's Vieta maybe just getting loose there at the back, and then unfortunately Gravel not being able to stop him there and getting right up to the wall, as we see now what's going to happen here. But as I said, Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 are very, very difficult. If you touch the green a bit too much, you go spinning, or even if you hook your wheel a bit too much into that little divot. Ooh, the rear snap there. And a reverse Charles Leclerc moment there, and probably not screaming no into his helmet there, but definitely not very happy. As you see another Ferrari spinning there.
That is Vieta again going and having a rough time, and I think there's just no grip in the rear. Tires have taken a hammering, and unfortunately all not working to plan through this race for round 3 of the ZRC GT3 Championship Season 2. And now we're going to be starting to consider what's going to happen to our top running cars. Daniel De Villiers, Daniel Rowe, Crystals, Conrad Martin unfortunately needs to do 2 more stops, so he is definitely out of that fight. Johan Krobler will be in with a fight. He's got 1 more pit stop, so maybe the undercut is a possibility. Sean Benham, which we haven't spoken about too often, is a little bit of the Joker card in the mix here, along with Hannes Freiling, who is gaining a bit of ground on him, 4.2 seconds behind. So Hannes Freiling may be the Joker card in the deck, the card that may flip the points completely around and change what everyone's thinking about.
No, absolutely, Stephen. I mean, I think the car that nobody really expected to come around and definitely make a big impact and damage some of the points for the championship standing is the Nissan. I mean, both Nissans are running comfortably in the top 10. Hannes Freiling just 7, just maybe outside of the top 5 there. But with Conrad Martin going into the pits now, that will move him up into 6th. And then also with Sean Bingham having to do another pit stop, that is a net P5 with Vieter Buerta again. That rear tires are heavily overheated as we see a bright green Ferrari there coming around Parabolica.
That's part of the Delta Racing that had to take evasive maneuvers. I do want to point out, when last have you seen a Nissan GTR and a Bentley nose to tail like this in one shot? I mean, the last time I saw this was 2020.
Yeah, that's well, I saw in the sim. You saw maybe in real life was that was not out of Kalani there. We have never had a Nissan this side, I believe.
We do have a Nissan this side, but it hasn't raced against the Bentley because it's in a different class spec. But yes, we do actually have a Nissan here in South Africa. It's actually a very famous Nissan for many people that don't actually know about it. It's owned by the Stradale team. And next time you go and see Extreme Supercars and go see that Nissan, bit of history. If you go watch a Bathurst 1000 where the PlayStation sponsored Nissan won the race, that is the very car that's sitting here in South Africa. Just by the way.
That's actually great. I mean, Nissan has won the Bathurst and also the Bentley with the Jordan Pepper on board. But speaking of the Bentley, Gerry van Zyl doing a bit there of lawn mowing there. That looks like damage on the rear of that car there. But just seeing this is going into Parabolica. If I look at that, looks like Curvadale set out.
No, this is into the Variante. This is one of the Variantes.
Sorry, yes, this is sorry.
So
yeah, it's going the Scurry there.
Over the curbs. Wall. That is not a happy Bentley after that knock, and Gerry van Zyl has been on the charge. One of the McLaren's also diving off, but Gerry van Zyl is running second of his class at the moment with a net first, so anything like this is not what he wants to deal with. Frans Rutgen and Henk Petersen and Ruben Verreda going and landing up with a bit of a problem. What on earth happened there?
And Ruben Goldfroy just saying, nope, I'm getting off track there as cars came zooming by that BMW.
Oh no, that was Gabriel Melment that was back, that caught the likes of Rian Reda, who then landed up with even further troubles up the road. And
getting very lucky there, avoiding that little tap there. Oh, Stephen again, the Lesmos claiming its victims there, and it's not over. It seems like it's France. Oh, climbing the curb.
Yeah, there's Gabriel Melman getting a knock, and it seems like he had a bit of contact with Henk Petersen. Henk Petersen going a little bit slow, had the Ferrari snap out underneath him, and head on with Wilfred Robertson, who unfortunately will be taking just a combination of short little accidents between two corners. Voltgen getting a knock, Reda getting a knock, Gabriel Melman and Wilfred Robertson all landing up with a bit of a problem. Henk Petersen with a lot of damage is pulling into the pits and will be getting that repaired. Unfortunately, unplanned pit stop once again coming into play. So a couple of drivers really suffering the long-term effects. But take a look, 6 minutes and 25 seconds to go. First, second, and third still needing to pit. And all eyes will be on Daniel Rowe, Chris Sills, and Johan Krobler. And Daniel de Villiers is in the pound seat for this one. He is 8 seconds away from Johan Krobler, so he needs to try and get past him. but unfortunately, he is 34 seconds away from Daniel Rowe.
Well, Stephen, that might play into his favor. As I said, the little note that got handed to me from our producers who was just who got received from our stewarding team there says the minimum pit time is 38 seconds. That's literally from going into the pit, stopping, and going out again. So 38 seconds. Daniel de Villiers has a 4-second gap on Daniel Rowe. So there's going to be the battle between the two Daniels there. And Hannes Schreiling, 3.7 seconds behind Daniel de Villiers the last time they crossed the line. Now Daniel just left the pits, so there's still a bit, the gap might grow a bit. But at this point, we might be seeing 2 Nissan GTRs being in the top 3. I'm not jinxing, knocking on wood, but this will be definitely something noteworthy to write back home to.
Gabriel Melman off into the distance once again. He is having a terrible run in the Porsche, just not able to get it all hooked up this time around. Late on the brakes, over the curbs, and it just swung itself into the wall, parked in the middle of the circuit, holding his brakes while the cars come by. Do want to take hats off to drivers that hold their brakes. Thank you. The unsung heroes of sim racing is definitely the ones that hold their brakes.
Absolutely, Stephen. I mean, holding the brakes will definitely lead to not having other drivers getting more damage. If you see Johannes Robert jumping into pits, and Daniel de Villiers reclaiming that lead and getting a sizable lead over Robert. Well, Robert was third, and he already had that penalty that he served in his first stop. But now Daniel de Villiers is flashing his lights, telling that Mercedes, listen, buddy, get out of the way. I'm trying to win this thing. And you see Hannes Schreiling getting past there also in terms of getting past
Viet getting caught out.
Final minutes of the race, unfortunately.
And it looks like it may not be into his own doing as he's trying to get it all sorted out. Goes out a little bit wide. Just the rear stepping out into the wall, bounces back, and unfortunately, and it looks like having one of his teammates that getting into the wall as well, trying to just avoid in getting a little bit of a fright. So unfortunately, staring down the barrel of a gun there. Sean Benham getting overtaken with Michael Schultz going and just creeping ahead. 2 cars left to do the pit stops. Daniel Rowe, who's just pulled in the pits. Chris Stalls, he's going to have to get into the pits this lap. If he goes 1 extra, it's going to be risking it. He gets into the pits. Now, eyes are set on the Godzilla of Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. Can he walk away with the contract over these 2 drivers? Daniel Rowe, who's just got going. Crystals is still needing to stop. I think Daniel Rowe has done enough, just enough, to keep ahead and hold first place ahead of likes of Daniel de Villiers. Another set of yellow flags popping up for the number 25 car, 8 and 17, all running into a bit of a problem. So this is Edwin Govender who landed up with a bit of an issue. Mr. Govender doing everything he can to try and make up some time. Oh, one Ferrari gets it out of shape, comes across the nose of the Mercedes, and Edwin Govender just getting a slight little tap there on the way through. So really brave moments. But Daniel Rowe has managed to close up and walk away with first place at the moment. Still 4 seconds between himself and Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. In our Pro-Am class, it is Van Zyl leading the charge. Robertson on the back of him, and Mordre Claessen's looking to claim 3rd place. And this will be Claessen's very first podium positions. I stand to be corrected on it, but as far as I'm aware, he has not been on the podium during the GT3 races in last season and this season. So he has an opportunity to go and capture it. Robertson, same, has not gone and stood on the top. And Van Zyl with the big Bentley, hoping that it will be enough to keep the charge going. This is turning into a monumental fight right down to the last dying seconds of the race. 1 minute and 5 seconds left of Monza in the rain. Pit windows now closed, as we just heard from Jim. This is it. Game on, race on. Don't get it wrong.
Yes, absolutely, Stephen. Daniel Rowe just showing his experience there in the sim and in real life racing there, knowing how to push the car and manage it as best as possible. And
Claessen's has lost it.
And he's running again now. He still has 2 laps to go, unless the leaders are able to say, listen, okay, we're done for now. But with those 2 at the front, we do know that it might be another lap they're going. But this might be the final lap for them, Stephen.
It is the final lap. We got confirmation from Jim. Leader is on the final lap, and De Villiers is 2.4 seconds behind. Hannes Kraling is 4.2 seconds behind. De Villiers has only a couple of corners to get this right. He's going to have to dig deep and really reach into those pockets if he wants to get ahead of Daniel Rowe, who is really pushing the limits. That Porsche not looking as stable as it wants to be, with Daniel De Villiers breathing down his neck. This is a race won or lost in Ascari. That is for certain. Coming past one of our back markers, looking very broken. Leaders not getting caught out. Vietia just lining out of the way. De Villiers 2.1 seconds. He's got the drive to try and close it up. Daniel Rowe has got 1 corner, a single corner, and 1.8 seconds separating him and victory. De Villiers is going to hammer it around as hard as he can. Edrin Govender retiring the car in the final second of the race. Edrin Govender is out of the running, but Daniel Rowe taking the checkered flag. Daniel De Villiers putting it in second. Hannes Kraling taking in third. It is a 2-3 for the Nissans. Crystals comes across the line after a triumphant fight. Lying in 4th place, Johan Kleinans will be scoring some valuable points for his championship, and smiling ear to ear for the Delta Negative team. Johan Krobler, though, making his way around the circuit. He's got Sava Savov all over the back of him, and this is a race for position. Sava can take away valuable points from Johan Krobler in a matter of seconds if he goes and backs off the throttle. Johan Krobler comes across the line. Sava Savov could have really thrown a proper spanner in the works there. Michael Schultz in 8th place. Sean Benham will be finishing up in 9th place. 0.8 seconds. Got Johan van der Merwe, Conrad Martin, Harry van Zyl, David Robertson, Michael Donaldson, followed by Mordre Claessens, finishing up in 3rd place in class, with Tian Thuron trying to get a little bit closer. 1.6 seconds. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to get the legs, and Claessens will be holding on to that 3rd place for the Pro-Ams. Then you've got Ruan Ritter, who has really done a phenomenal job, lying in 17th position. 18th, Lawrence Barnmose, Frans Voltzgen, Ian Rutman, Edrin Governor pulling into the pits. Anton Lummers comes across the line, 22nd position. 23rd, Vietia, Jaco Krobler, Henry Porchita, Jacques Krill, SESA's Heinrich Loeb, Ian Swanburn, Gabriel Melman, Wilfred Robertson comes across the line as well. Francois Buerta, Gerrit Jacobs, Jackie Alberts, and Barry Loeb rounding out our field. 30-second penalties being handed out to Gabriel Melman, Robertson, and 5 seconds to Jackie Alberts right on the end, and that will swap it out. But Gabriel will hold his position over Robertson. Robertson will hold his position despite the 30-second penalty issued to him.
Yes, Stephen, and Governor might just hold on to his position there, having completed about the correct amount of laps there.
even though he did retire the car there and didn't cross the finish line, depending on how the stewards and how they will look at that. But no, well done to everybody, and specifically well done to our Pro-Am drivers for both the two that got their first podium finishes in a GT3 race. So well done to everybody, and it's definitely been a great race, full of action, full of drama, lots of spins, and the fight right until the end between Daniel Rowe and Daniel De Villiers. De Villiers trying to relive his glory days there, unfortunately just missing out there, but he put on a magnificent show there. Just the experience of one Daniel outliving the one of the other ones, and just shows that the BOP brought back the Nissan and the Bentley, and it is not over just yet for those cars. They are ready to fight.
Reliving some of the action as we keep an eye on the highlights. We will be having a chat to a couple of the drivers that will be joining us in the commentary box and have a chat. Let's see who we got. We got Hannes Kraling, who is waiting to come into the commentary box. So let's bring Hannes Kraling in for a bit of a chat. Hannes, welcome to the commentary box. Glad to have you here. What a race out there. And getting third place with the Nissan, rather exciting considering you had such a phenomenal qualifying. Did you expect to be in this position?
First of all, thank you for having me. Actually, no, I thought the likes of Stoltz and Kleinans would far outdrive me, but I'm just glad my strat played out the way it did.
Oh, phenomenal driving. I mean, taking a look at the conditions out there, rain at Monza, never a fun thing to deal with. What was going through your head at the time, seeing that this was all to the race is going to be rain and Monza being a bit of a combo that is less favorable to most?
So when we started practicing the BOP, the LFM BOP was still plus 22. So I'm like, this is not going to work. I'm going to be top 15. Then it updated. I'm like, let me practice a bit more. But going into the race, it was always going to be tricky with the rain. But it's just throttle management and above all, just managing, if there are back markers, just managing to get cleanly through the traffic and managing those rear tires.
Well, scoring third place, well done, and absolutely triumphant effort. Cameron, anything you would like to say from your side, or any questions that you would like to inquire?
Well, not really. Just I'm very glad, Hannes. Hannes, you had a very good drive there, an excellent drive there, fighting your way through the pack there, and showing that Nissan still has what it takes to run at the front there. And just tell us your point of view from how you experience these conditions. I mean, at some point it looked absolutely miserable out there.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable at the start for me because my tires were over 31 psi, so I had to run in the wet line a lot, and I lost a bit of time there. But towards the end of the race, the rears were starting to get away from me. I lost a bit of time, but in all its fun conditions, I do love to drive in the rain, so I do love these conditions, and I'm just glad that the only two Nissans are in the top three. Just goes to show that the old cars can still do it.
When you're good, you're good. And when you're the best, it shows. Well done, Hannes. Anything you would like to say to all the race fans out watching currently and everyone watching in the future that you would like to have a shout out to, and even to our sponsors, Rapid Networks jumping on board, EG Evolved, and ACC GT Server Manager being a part of this GT3 Season 2 of ZRC?
So I'm very happy to see that the ZRC League is growing at a quite rapid pace that it is. We're season 2 and we're gaining sponsors quite rapidly, which is good to see the involvement from the sponsor side for the season. And I would just like to give them all a shout out, especially EG Evolved that came on recently for season 3 and 4. It just shows the commitment from their side to this league as well, and our side to continue hosting a league that's clean, competitive, and well-respected drivers within, and everyone's racing clean. There's less incidents, and even in these wet conditions, I don't recall any major incidents that we had. So it's good to see that everyone's racing clean, and the sponsors are taking notice and joining the league as well.
Well, thank you very much, Giannis Frailing. Well done, and go and have an absolute jewel. Go and have a chocolate milkshake on me. How's that sound?
I might steal my wife's chocolate milkshake in the fridge.
There we go. Is it, the most important question? Is it a Steri Stumpy?
No. It's an upper class one. It's a Woolies one.
Oh no. Then forget it. Rather just put ice in it and then just throw it in the bin.
I'm not going to live that down.
Thank you very much, Hannes.
Thanks for having me. Have a great one.
Cheerio. Bye.
Bye.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Man, first of our Nissans, and first time getting to actually interview a person that was driving a Nissan. I've never actually done that. Let's bring in our second place of our pros. Let's have a chat to Daniel de Villiers. Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, you took out the contracts. You hit harder than Hitman 3 and finishing up in second place, narrowly losing out on first. But what a drive on your part. How are you feeling being the fastest Nissan out there? And the car was looking solid around the track.
Yeah, Stephen, leading most of the time, and then, yeah, on lap, where was it? I can't even remember. We're close to the end. Lap 35, I think. Yeah, 34. My pedals went to 70% at turn 1. So I lost 10 seconds in one lap to Daniel Rowe, and I lost the win. So I'm absolutely gutted.
Okay, yeah, no, I can see that being the... Oh, man, just hearing it, my heart sunk into my shoes right now. But still, what a race on your side. How was it being out there? You started second on the grid. You were really in for a fight. Looking at the competitors, turn 1, a very daunting turn. You've got a flock of 49 cars all looking to go for it. What's your thoughts of it?
Oh, well, the start was actually better than I predicted. I thought Baker was going to run away with it because he was on the first part, I think the first 10 laps, he was making way away from me. And then all of a sudden I caught him, thanks to back markers a bit, and we had a little dice there as well. And then I took the lead, and I just started making time ahead of him the whole time. So yeah, it was actually good.
Well, fantastic running. Cameron, anything you would like to say to your former teammate? I just want to point out that just proved that Godzilla is one to be feared.
Well, Stephen, of course, with that one, I have to say, I apologize, Daniel, for always doubting the power of the Nissan. I know we had discussions about it. And I do know that you've been hungry, waiting and fighting it out, wanting to relive the glory days of having that Nissan cross the line first, and you almost had it there tonight. It's a sad thing having regarding your pedals there. I know about it, I've experienced it also myself before with that one. And yeah, just how did it feel to be running the Nissan around this track, having the lead again, and just rethinking of those days that you had where you were able to take the win with that Nissan earlier days? Was it momentous, or was it just a bit of reliving of the old memories?
Well, Cameron, now since I led the race, I was just calm, focusing on my exits and entry, fiddling around with the TC for some corners and stuff, just to keep the tires at optimum temperature and all that stuff. So for me, I was cool and calm until the pedals gave up a bit on me. But yeah, furthermore, it's great to be in the Nissan. This was just a test run for me for the season to see how it still performs. But I don't think I will use it again. I need to stay with the team's decision for the car, so we can all progress and improve everyone's driving style and stuff. So yeah.
No, well, good to hear that you're always just testing out, bringing out the old golden oldies just to give them a nice little lap around the track there. And yeah, it's just, as you said, it's a shame that your pedals unfortunately decided to give out there. We were shaping up for a monumentous battle there at the end. I mean, you were closing rapidly in the final lap there. Fortunately, just missing out, not getting enough power out of it. But well, you never know. It's always not be in the cards again that you will win again. I mean, with your pace that you're showing recently, you will definitely be fighting there in the front again. And all the best and well done on a great second place.
Thank you, Stephen.
Wait,
Thank you,
Daniel.
Cameron.
Before you go, Daniel, just as a consolation prize, Cameron, can you repeat after me?
What?
Daniel,
Daniel,
you
you
were
uh,
right.
no, well,
Yeah,
Daniel.
yeah.
Sometimes Daniel is sometimes right. I will give
Well,
it to him.
well. To be fair, big shout out to Kunas for fixing the car, but
That means LFMBOP, I believe.
Well,
yeah.
thank you very much, Daniel. Looking forward to seeing you next week duking it out, and we look forward to seeing the mighty Godzilla take
Cool.
on the Porsches.
Thank you guys, and well done to Daniel Rowe for the win. Next time.
I always love to hear that bit of spice coming into it. Bringing in our final interview into the box. Let's bring in Daniel Rowe. Daniel, what a race out there from looking at the tail lights of your teammate to getting right behind a Nissan GTR to suddenly you're ahead and into a monumental fight for the line. What's your thoughts on this? What was running through your head? And you managed to finish with 1.8 seconds between yourself and the big mighty Nissan behind you.
Yeah, it was a good race. I didn't get quali right again, but I seem to have a decent race pace. And then, yeah, I didn't expect to get the win tonight. I was just trying to look after the rears, but managed to get into the leading position. And then, yeah, I just had to play it safe. For the last 2 laps, I was really struggling. So he seemed to have better pace than us tonight, but I think he had a technical issue, but we'll take it.
That's it. You can't go and look at the shortcomings and go, well, it sucks for the other guy. I mean, how many times you've been in the car and you go, shucks, you went and hurt your motor. What a blow. I'll take those points from you. Don't stress, buddy. Just relax. I'll carry the load of walking away with the points. But Daniel, this has accelerated your championship quite a bit, with Caldervit unfortunately out of the running due to he's gone for surgery. Your closest competitors, Johan Kleinans and your teammate, who are currently sitting on respectively 59 and 58 points, while you are sitting on 80 points going into this race. Do you think that grabbing the championship gold at the end is on the cards for you?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I just wanted to be consistent. We didn't manage to win round 1, and yeah, Bagger managed to get a win for our team in round 2. So yeah, and I had 2 seconds, so I definitely knew after round 2 that it was on. Just needed to keep it up, and I think we were on for a 3rd second tonight for myself, and turned out to be a win. So I definitely think we're there for the championship. Just need to keep it together for the rest of the season and do what we've been doing.
Well, don't be so bummed about getting first place. It's fine. We'll just go and we'll give the first place away. I mean, you walked away with a fantastic run there, Daniel. But still, what a fantastic run on your part, Cameron. Anything you would like to ask Daniel? I'm sure there's a couple of questions running through your mind, seeing what the Porsche was doing and just hearing that the rears were having a bit of trouble.
Well, Stephen, it's known. Well, I've known about the rears always having a trouble, being a bit of an issue on the Porsche there. But Yeah, not many questions. I've shared the track multiple times with Daniel across multiple different series and everything. So knowing him running up front and being able to manage the car as beautifully as he did just shows the amount of skill that he has. And yeah, I think with this win, Daniel, you've definitely solidified your grip on that trophy, saying, "Listen, I'm not giving this up. I'm not giving this up very easily. I want this lead, and I'm definitely going to win it." So, no questions, just a wholehearted, well done, great race, and looking forward to seeing from you for the next couple of races.
Yeah, thank you very much. We had a good result tonight, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you for the race.
Well, it's good to see hybrid racing still going and, well, running on petrol motors, not on the electric hybrids. Still, at least you got the right combustion engines. I'm happy about that one. Anything you would like to say to all the race fans out there watching live and watching in the future, Mr. Rowe?
No, well, thanks for supporting us. Thanks for supporting the league and or the series. And yeah, definitely get involved so we can grow, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Thank you very much, Daniel Rowe, and go and have a party. Well done on the win right here at Monza for round 3.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it's absolutely fantastic to go and have a chat to him, but we're going to bring in a surprise guest. Yes, I'm going to be that guy and bring in a surprise guest because even though the invite says +1, I'm bringing a second. Why? Because it's a rebel. We're going to bring in Michael Donaldson. Michael Donaldson, welcome to the commentary box. How are you feeling with the race? Unfortunately, having a quali ban for the race wasn't quite how you wanted Monza to start off, but getting to see the racing on hand, getting to see the guys fight it out. What's your thoughts?
To be dead honest, I think the quali ban was probably the best news of the day. Because the moment that green light went, I got off my throttle, knowing something was going to happen. And straight away, I see cars going all over the place. Absolute chaos. I get back on and I'm dodging people coming back onto track. Some people still hitting each other. And it was chaos getting through all of that. I did manage, after my second stop, I managed to get to 11th place. But then for my second stop, I forgot to put on tires, and then my tires died.
It gave up the ghost. But 14th overall is not a bad run from your part. You've managed to get a little bit of a climb out there. Do you feel a bit more confident heading into round 4 that now there's a little bit more pace in you? You're starting to look around at your competitors, starting to get the feel of what your competitors... What's your thoughts on this? I mean, you started from way at the back towards dead last and you're finishing up 14th. I'm sure there's a bit more confidence into the race.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And going into this, my only goal was I wanted to place in top 20 without getting into incidents. And anytime there was a point where I would brake and I was coming up on a car super quickly, I was backing out of moves and I was playing it super safe the whole way through. I didn't want to have a repeat of Kyle Lamy. So just played the whole race nice and safe.
Well done on that. Cameron, anything you would like to say to Michael? I mean, the two of you have got a very similar past in, if I can put it that way, in sim racing, where the overt aggressive driving styles was the main thing to go for. This time, both Cameron, you've had it where you had to taper it off, and Michael Donaldson having the same discussion, getting told, listen, just taper it off. Think about the long game instead of getting past the first lap. Anything you would like to say to him?
Well, yes, Stephen, as you said there, well, me and Michael, Michael coming from the F1 scene and myself just getting into racing there. Yeah, we have actually had a couple of fun races around Monza and we had some good laughs together. But no, Michael, it's personally for me, it's great to see you improve as a driver as you've done over such a short period of time, and it's great to see you even from going from the back as we saw earlier in the replays there. We just missed that incident in lap one there, and to be in the background can just see a little bit of the carnage. But no real questions actually, just more of a congratulations going from last and fighting your way up into 14th, I believe. That is something that deserves a tip of the hat, and definitely a feather you can put in your cap there, to due to just keeping consistent. And yes, the tires might have gotten killed at the end, but you still stuck it out, and a well-deserved top 15 finish. So well done there, Michael, and it's great to see how you improve, and looking forward to how you improve in the future.
Thank you very much, Cameron.
Well,
As a matter of fact, Cameron's one of the guys who taught me how to get into ACC
That's where the mistakes
way
came.
back. Like I was,
Racing last year, actually.
Okay, so now I'm starting to see the traits carried over. Makes sense, makes sense. All right, but Michael, the floor is yours. Keep it PG, but I'm sure there's a couple of things you want to say to all the spectators, the sponsors, and everyone watching, and especially to your fellow teammate, Carl de Witt, who was watching on tonight as well.
it was honestly heartbreaking to see Cole type a message in the group saying that he was out for the rest of the season due to his op, especially after how well he's been doing this season. He was on for a brilliant championship fight, and unfortunately things just didn't go his way. However, I definitely think that Carl will come back next season and show us a Max Verstappen on the season.
I love to hear it. Thank you very much, Michael Donaldson. Well done
Thank you very much, Steve.
on your
Thank
positioning.
you.
And, well, I could say from the world's fastest back marker, I'm rather proud of what you did there, Mike. Well done. Earn
Thank
the
you,
respect.
Steve.
All right.
Appreciate you guys.
Well, Michael Donaldson rounding up all our interviews, Cameron, and what a race it is. But now we're all leaving Monza. We're leaving the rain behind in Italy to go and water the fields to where we get all the wine. But now we look forward to the future racing. Next week, round 4 coming up. Unfortunately, I will not be in the box for that one. So got my own racing that is on the same time, but looking forward to seeing all the stories and all the drivers talking about the races going forward, and all the interesting catch-ups that we're going to have. Your thoughts on it?
Yes, no, Stephen, definitely going forward. It's going to be action packed, as you mentioned. You won't be you'll be in the car next week, and I will also be heading over with you alongside you, just playing crew chief in your ear for that race there. But it's definitely going to be excited to look back on the stream. We will still be broadcasted, but it's definitely going to be very, very fun to see. I believe it's still going to be broadcasted. It's still going to be an amazing battle to see how the races do it for the next race. And yeah, let the waters of Italy now go and flood the wine, not flood, just water the wine field, so we can get some good wine and have great cheese in the future.
There we go. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon if you're enjoying all the action right here at ZRC. Also, feel free to join the Discord down in the description, and take a look out on SimGP for all the amazing action and joining up with the championships. A big thank you to our sponsors, Rapid Networks, EG, Evolved ACC, a GT Server Manager. Please go and take a look at all the amazing products that are being sold by our sponsors, all the services being given by our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible. Big thank you to all our admin and our stewarding team putting in all the phenomenal work. Big thank you to the man, the myth, the legend, the Sasquatch of Cameron de Bastos going in, lending his voice for the evening. Cameron, always an honor to have you here in the Team Heap, in the THT Productions booth. But we are going to be saying a good night, ladies and gentlemen, as we take a look to round 4 coming up next week. on the 17th of April, we'll be heading out to Watkins Glen to go bowling, and it's not to be missed. You really want to see all the action that is happening out there. You're more than welcome to join in with all the fun in our Pro and Pro-Am, so keep a lookout for that next week, 17th of April at Watkins Glen. But from myself, Stephen Koenig, and the Tabasco Sauce himself, Cameron the Bastos, we would like to say thank you very much. Good morning, good evening,
Good evening and good night, everybody.
Oh, there we go. Just jumping in. I feel like I just had the lead taken away from me. Well, that's pretty much it. I'm calling retirement. Cheerio, folks.